Hello everybody and welcome back to Flying with Overkill F-18C for DCS World. And today, I'm not going to really do any tutorials. It just dawned on me that I need to reset up all my controls since I've done our Windows installation. So I figured I would walk you guys through it in case any of you are new to the Hornet and are interested in doing so. So I'm going to turn active pause on with the pause key here. And then we're going to go ahead and get right after it. So I will be using RSMapper. There are links in the description below to it. And what I've done here is, if you can see, I have the Thrustmaster Warthog. I have both the stick and the throttle. So the throttle looks like here. And if we bring RSMapper over here in the latest version, what you can do is actually right click and change the name of the associated button. So it's TDC depress. This is button 2 that I clearly did not name. I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. But anyway, you have your mic switches, your boat switch, China, etc., and you can do the same thing for the joystick. Trigger 1, trigger 2, that's the 2 stages of the trigger, weapons release, etc. So it makes mapping your controls much easier. And RSMapper can be found at this link here. You can see the address above. It'll also be in the description below. Just come down here, go to the Google Drive and install it. Put the extraction folder directly somewhere where you want it to be and launch the application directly from its unzipped directory. Okay, it's extremely handy key mapping software. I absolutely freaking love it. But let's go ahead and jump right after it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the stick here, and we need to set up our trim. I'm going to start with the flight controls here. So I'm going to move this off for just a minute. And we're just going to come here and type trim. I'm going to be moving through this pretty fast, guys, so hope you stay with me. I am going to clear the category here. I don't know what this ED tracker is. I've never seen that. And I'm going to clear all of them. I bind everything on my own. That way I don't have to do this unless I uninstall Windows and don't save my profiles like a dork. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start our trim process. So we're using the right controls here. Right control and the punctuation buttons. So here it's going to be trigger on single press. Actually, yep, that's what we want. And we want trim nose down. And we're going to be using a right control and colon or semicolon, however you want to look at it. We do want to repeat and continuous. This will repeat the command as long as we hold the button down. All right, and we're going to trim right wing. This will be the same for all of these. And feel free to pause the video if I'm moving too fast, if you guys want to follow along. It's a nice thing about a recording. I'm just a little pressed for time today, so I'm flying through it, but I wanted you guys to at least be a part of it and see how I set up my controls. Trim left wing down. Alright, that takes care of our trim. Alright, so let's move back to the buttons. And trigger stage 1, I'm not going to worry about. I don't use that for anything. However, weapons release, absolutely we do. And it is titled the same. Weapons release is the command. This is how we drop our bombs and etc. And we're going to be using right alt and spacebar. You can just type the first letter of the command you're looking for and keep repeating it until you find it. You don't have to use repeat and command here. I do repeat and continuous because I want to make sure that bomb comes off the freaking wing when I want it to. Okay, pinky button, this is going to be nose wheel steering. And it does have a few other commands, as you guys know. S. We do want that continuous. The paddle switch is going to be autopilot disconnect. And nose wheel steering disengage. So autopilot, I'm just going to put disc. And I believe it is A is the command. So I'm going to hold that one for just a second. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to clear out our search view here. And I'm actually just going to come down here and hit A on our keyboard. Boom, he was right. And those did not clear. And that makes me mad when it does this. Just making sure all the commands are actually cleared like they're supposed to be. I don't know why it did that. I told it to clear the freaking category. It drives me crazy when it does this. Yeah, it like totally did not do anything that I told it to do. Come on, ED. Alright. And then finally, yeah, what? I have no idea what this is. What is the ED tracker? If you guys know, let me know. I have no idea what that is. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to hit OK to make sure those commands actually apply. I'm going to scroll back through, and it looks like they didn't. I just saw something there. Oh, it's the keyboard commands falling over. That's weird. That's a weird glitch. All right, but it looks like the commands themselves are gone now. Okay. So, back to RSMapper. All right, so we did the paddle switch. Master mode. Now, I'm going to definitely want this to be the recce event. All right, so it's going to be RECCE. R on the keyboard. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. I don't know if I'm going to bind anything else to that or not yet, but this allows us to easily turn the HMD on and off once it's powered on. So we'll go ahead and leave that as a single press for now. Trigger 2, obviously we want our guns and missiles. Gun / missile fire! And that's just going to be spacebar. Now because the guns are attached to it, you definitely want it to be repeat and continuous. TMS up, etc. These are going to be our weapons. So let me do this, and I think it's just right control. Maybe it's right Alt X or Shift X. There it is, found them. All right, so here's what we're going to do here. All right, so TMS up. This is going to be. Let me move this over just a little bit. Maybe the other direction. I'm trying to keep this so you guys can see it. Let me reduce this window here a little bit. I don't need it to be that big. And I can reduce this one here. Give me a second. There we go. That should work. Okay. So first we're going to do TMS up as the AMRAM. And these don't have to be continuous. We're just going to set them as is. And using these will automatically put the aircraft into air-to-air mode if it is not already. And TMS right, we're going to make the Sidewinder. Left shift and S. TMS down. I'm going to make that my guns, which is left shift X. And TMS left will be the Sparrow, which is left shift and W. Okay, DMS. Now these I typically do my. Oh, actually, you know what? While we're here, let's do the sensor controls. I just saw those. Which is actually the countermeasure switches on the HOTAS on the stick for the Thrustmaster Warthog. So CMS forward is what we're looking for. That's going to be a right alt. Oops. Come on. And I believe we do want these to be repeat and continuous. I think they have some different functionality, if I remember correctly, based on long presses and short presses. So we're going to leave those as is. Let me go back into that. Probably ought to. So this is going to be sensor select forward. Trigger and press. Sensor select right. Which is going to be right alt and slash. That's right. We're using the right alts. Okay. CMS aft. Sensor select aft is going to be right alt and period. Left is going to be right alt and comma. And then the depress, oops, is going to be right alt and kilo. All right, so that squares that away while we're here. Oh, hey, I can move them right here. Nice. Next thing we're going to want, let's see what we got, is DMS. So let's go to, here we go. Radar elevation up. So I'm going to do DMS up. Radar elevation up. And that's going to be equals. And again, definitely repeat and continuous. And then DMS down. Radar elevation down is going to be the minus sign. Okay. Recce event switch, we already got that guy. Raid field of view. This I'm actually going to put on the throttle. Do I want to do that on my throttle? I think I want to do that on my throttle. You know what I do want is on DMS left. This is where I put my target lock. Now that way I don't have to worry about bumping it or something retarded when I'm using my TDC. So TDC designate. That's the other thing the nose wheel steering does, undesignates your target. TDC designate, and I'm going to be using the numpad enter because the enter key tends to have some weird issues every now and then. And again, I want to make sure that bad boy actually does what it's supposed to do. So set it to repeating continuous. And the other thing I'm going to do is make sure that I still have that mapped in here. I do indeed. All right, let's bring this back up. DMS left, or DMS right, I'm sorry. We're going to make this our raid field of view button. Do I want to do that? No, let's make that our cage uncage. Cage uncage. Okay. And that does not need to be repeating continuous. All right, so I think we're done with the stick. Let's move on to the throttle. All right, TDC depress, I'm going to be ignoring here. Button 2, I gotta remember what the heck that is. It's not that one. Oh, I know what it is. It's mic switch depress. So here, I'll show you how to change your name real quick. If you haven't seen this before, you go change your name. And you go mic depress. He's so depressed. I am not. And we're going to go file save to make sure we save the file. That way that name sticks. Leave all that as is for now. Mic up. We want that to be our... Let's see here. Run control slash. All right, COM 1. So I'm just going to title that COM 1. Right control. Right slash. Repeat and continuous because we use SRS. And find mic switch down. This is going to be COM 2. And we're going to be doing right control, right slash, repeat and continuous. Boom. We have a couple other functions for some of the other stuff. Speed brake forward, that's going to require a sequence, and I'll show you guys. Well, here, let's do a sequence real quick for that. This is for the speed brake extend. So we're going to do new, and we're going to call this Hornet speed brake. Okay. The command is speed brake extend. I believe it is left shift and bravo. And we want it to run for approximately 2,800 milliseconds. Takes about 2.5 seconds for that speed brake to fully extend. All right. So we're just going to leave that. That's all we needed for that. We can close this guy. And we're going to come down here to our speed brake switch again. And speed brake extend. And we want to do key press on sequence. There we go. And trigger on release, we want speed brake retract. And that's going to be left control B. No repeat needed on that. Speed brake aft, this is the momentary. So again, we're going to do speed brake extend. Now we want the speed brake to only come out for as long as we hold the button. So we're going to do a repeat and continuous, left shift and bravo, trigger on release. When we let go of it, we want the speed brake to retract again. And we're going to do left control bravo, single tap, boom. Let's do a file save. I do like to test this one to make sure I have it right. And there's the speed brake coming out with the momentary switch. Oh, interesting, but it's not letting go. All right, so let's go back into this for a second. Could have sworn that is the retract button. Okay, so what did I put in RSMapper? That makes me wonder. Let's come back to RSMapper. Left control and bravo. Why aren't you recognizing that? Interesting. Let's go ahead and hit OK again. Let's do a file save again. I'm going to test this one more time. That's a little weird. Yeah, it's not catching that release, is it? Let's see if it's picking it up in the controls. It totally is in the controls. Well, that's new. That used to work just fine. Alright, well, worst case scenario, we have a way around that too. So we're going to do repeat, and let's try 30 times. Let's see what it gets. This happens really fast, so let's do that. File save. Let's see if this works. There it goes. Weird. Alright, so now I'm going to sort of fine-tune this a little bit. See if I can get that down to like 10. Come back over here. Repeat. 10. Some of the stuff you gotta test. Yep, that works just fine. Let it fully extend. Good. Let go. Good. Alright, we're back in action. So it was just happening too fast. That's not a problem. Alright. So now let's go ahead and move back in over here. And let's take a look at some of our options here. So we do want the pinky switch to be our auto throttle. So we're just going to write ATC for auto throttle control. That's going to be a quick T on there. Flaps. Let's set up our flaps. So we can adjust controls. And this time I'm just going to search. Actually, what I can do here is just do that. There we go. Alright, so let's come back over here for a second. Let's find our hats. Our hats? Our flaps. Flaps and hats. Alright, so flaps forward. We want that to be the auto. So flaps auto. Where are you? Oh, geez, right there in front of me. Alright, flaps release would be the center position, so we want that to be flaps half. It's a three-stage rocker. So flaps half is left shift and F. Okay, then find flaps aft. It's going to be flaps full. Which flaps full was left control F. And then again, flaps half, because we're back in the center position, is going to be left shift and F. Okay, cool. I save frequently. Just something working in IT has always taught me. Save your work often. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at right control L. There we go. Our exterior light switch. So let's find my light switch. We want lights aft. This is going to be lights off. Smash off, however you want to talk about it. So it's going to be right Alt and L. Some of these commands I put in here, so if you guys don't see these, that's why. Just add them. And then this is going to be lights on with release, which is actually the center position for the lights master switch on the left side of the throttle. And that's right control L. Okay, let's keep looking around here. Let's see here. Field of view we already have set up top. No, we do not. We need the field of view, which is I. Let's make that our China hat forward. Where's my China hat? Why am I not seeing it? It should be right in front of my face. There we go. So we're going to make this our RAID field of view button. And that's just going to be I. Oops, not O, I. Okay. There we go. No repeat needed. Actually, that would probably be a bad thing on that one. Let's see here. Parking brake I'm not worried about. That's all done by the old hand and mouse. Countermeasures. Oh, that could be important. You know what? Let's change things a little bit. Let's make the boat switch forward, our raid field of view button. And what we're going to do, because it's not a momentary switch, is we're just going to repeat the command for both press and release. That'll solve that problem. And then for our China hat, let's see here. Countermeasures, dispense. Let's move it. Oh, yes. Let's move this over a little bit. All right, so forward is chaff, right? Yep. So we're going to change this to chaff, which is echo. Nope, wrong echo. There we go. I don't want that continuous. We don't want anything on the release. China hat aft. We're going to make this our flare, which is delta. And again, same principles. There we go. File, save, boom. All right. Let's see here. Let's keep moving around. I'm just looking for anything that I might have missed here at this point. Nothing crazy. We got most of the important stuff down. We got our column switches. Not worried about that one. Catapult hookup. That's not necessary at this point anymore. I use the super carrier. Canopy do the old-fashioned way. Got that the old-fashioned way. Nah, I do all my startup myself. There's no point in that. Arresting hook, again, same thing. Actually, the arresting hook and landing gear I actually will map. So let's do that real quick. Where are you? There you are. Alright, so we're going to be using the radar altimeter switch for my arresting hook. Where are you? Come on, guys, point it out to me. Tell me where it is. There it is. Alright, so what we want is when the switch is flipped up, I'm going to go ahead and have the arresting hook be up. Arresting hook up, which was, where are you? Left control and H. I hope that's really all it was. I should move that over a little bit further, but that would make sense. And then trigger on release. Arresting hook down. Left shift and H. Okay. Here we go. Let's move that over just a little bit. Alright, and then let's go and find the landing gear. Where are ya? Where are ya? Where are ya? Where are ya? There we go. Nope, landing gear. There we go, control handle. Alright, so I'm going to use my EAC for the landing gear on this one. And we're just going to type gear down. And gear down is left shift and G. And then trigger on release. Oh, nope, other way around. Other way around. Gear up. Now we want, what is it, left control G. And this one's going to be gear down. Gear down. And that is, what did we just say? Left control G? No, wait, hold on a second. Now I'm screwing myself up. Left shift and G, okay. There we go. Again, give it another save. Alright, so we got our resting hook, we've got our landing gear, we've got our flaps. Master caution reset button. I do use that on the landing gear silencer. Landing gear warning, there it is. So we're going to do this as master caution reset. And that is just November on our keyboard. Autopilots, we can make a cool sequence for these if you guys get tired of pushing the buttons. Oh, that's what I did with that. Or is it? I don't think I did. Disregard that. I was thinking the master mode button. I don't know if I'm going to use that one this time. We'll see. Okay, what else we got? Knee boards. I'm not worried about the knee board in this one. Well, aircrafts I really use the knee board for is World War II birds and the helicopter, the UH-1. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Alright, so let's go ahead and set the autopilot up. I'll show you guys some cool sequences that work really nicely. So first we need to find a couple of things. And I think we'll be able to tell pretty quickly which ones I've done it with. Let's find what I need is UFC. Is that what it is? Let's pull them. There we go. So autopilot button and then the option button. All right, so let's set up a sequence here. So we want sequence, view sequences, and we're gonna do Hornet altitude hold. Now, anytime I'm doing this one, it's always gonna be barometric. If I ever need the altimeter hold, I will set that manually, but I rarely use altimeter hold, the radar altimeter hold, excuse me. So we want to set the first key depression is going to be the AP button on the UFC, and the button command there is left control and A. All right, and depression for 50 milliseconds, that should be fine. So we're going to add that. Now the next one we're going to do is option 3 for the UFC push button. And I'll show you guys what it all looks like here in a minute. So we're going to go new and UFC option 3. And that is left alt left control 3. So it's going to be left alt left control 3. No, not E, 3. There we go. Now, delayed since start. We have to wait at least 50 milliseconds. We've got to make sure the first command completes. So we're going to go to 60 milliseconds, and we can leave the depression at 50 for right now and make sure that works. Sometimes we have to extend these. If the button presses too fast, it won't pick it up. All right, but that should be enough to get us where we want to be. So let me show you here. Let's go ahead and go close for a second. And what we're going to do is set it for the altitude button, or the altitude position on the autopilot. And so we're going to do AP alt hold. And we're going to do key press on sequence, and we're going to find Hornet altitude hold. There we go. Let's do a file and a save. Let's get this guy out of the way for a second. All right, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect our autopilot. If it helps when I'm actually in the sim. There we go. I have no control of my stick. And that's because we are in an active pause. That makes way more sense. All right, so let's say we're in a turn here. I'm going to flip that switch. Yeah, see, that's too fast. You see what happens here? So it taps it, but not fast enough. So here's how we fix that. I'm going to pause the sim for a second. I'm going to answer a text message. And now we're going to drag this guy back over. And we're going to go back to our sequences, view sequences, find the hold. And we're going to edit these. We're going to make them depress a little bit longer. So we're going to go edit. And we're going to bump this up to like 80. Okay. So we're going to hit save. Now we got to edit the second one. So remember, we need to wait at least the 80 milliseconds. Let's bump that up to 90. And the 3 seems to be working just fine, but let's go ahead and do this and make it 80 as well. Make sure it really gives a good hold on that button. All right, so let's do file, save, bring it back, come back in here, go pause, and let's try our buttons again. Still happening way too fast. That's crazy. All right, so let's pause. I'm surprised it's taking that long. It's really having to hold that button down. So sequences. I wonder if that's by design. And we're going to edit again. And let's make it 100. Full second. Or no, 100th of a second. 10th of a second. Okay, and we're going to edit this one again. We're going to make this 110. We're going to make this 100 as well. And we're going to hit save and close. Let it refresh. File save, sorry. Go pause. And let's try it again. Damn, dude. Oh, I'm retarded. It's working just fine. I didn't even notice that. I wonder how many of you are laughing at me right now. I hit the wrong control. So let's come back in here for a second. And what was that? Left alt, left 3. Okay, so we don't want that. We want this one. Left control 3. I am a dork. It was working just fine. I was just telling it to hit the wrong button. Alright, so let's come down here for a second. Let's back some of these out again. So I'm going to set this back to, let's go ahead and do 65. Give it a little bit longer still. And we're going to make this one, we're going to edit and hit 75, and 65 again is fine. And this time we're going to tell it just to hit the right command. There we go, close. File save. Come back in here. I bet it works this time. Hey, how about that? Anyway, so then the other thing that we're going to want to do with this particular switch is, I mean, obviously you can use your paddle switch, but if you remember not to use your paddle switch, you will want on release, just a quick tap of the old A, Autopilot, disconnect. That way, if you remember to use the switch and release it, it will release the autopilot command. Anyway, so you can do the same thing for the path hold. Really, altitude hold's typically the only one to use, but if you want to use the attitude hold, you could. But now when I release it, if I'm clicked in the sim, the autopilot now released. And we've regained control of the aircraft. Alright, let's see here. So we've covered just about everything I can think of. We've got the trim, we've got our weapons, we've got our countermeasures, we've got our sensors, we've got our field of view, we've got our target designate, we've got our target undesignate, we've got our cage, uncage button mapped, we've got our recce switch mapped for the HMD. And by the way, what I'm referring to there is, so if we take a look over here and we tap that R button, there it goes. We're going to have to... Alright, so I'm going to increase that a little bit. It doesn't like that button very well. So let's come back over here for a minute. Go back to the stick. And we're looking for master mode. There you are. I'm going to see if we can't repeat that 10 times or so. See if that works better. I don't know if that's going to work for this particular scenario, but we'll see. Let's check it out. Boom. Yeah, it tapped it off. Alright. So that's too many times. It's literally tapping it and letting it go. I've seen that with some of these. Some of the controls it does not like. And so with any of them that do this weird behavior where it works sometimes and works and doesn't work others, make a sequence for it. So like I'll show you real quick. So we're going to do this. We're going to do Hornet recce. This is real easy. We're just going to do R, and all I'm going to do is tell it to hold the button down a little bit longer. So we're going to do 100, right? Do add. That's it. That's all it needs. Hit close. Come back down here to the master mode. We're not changing anything. We're just going to get rid of what it's doing. We're going to keep press sequence. Reese. Or recce. Excuse me. Put it back over here, and now every time it'll work just fine. Okay? So, anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was quick and dirty, but you know, have fun with it. Find this RSMapper is a really neat piece of software, guys. It really allows you to do a lot. So play around a little bit, find different sequences. You can do sequences for jettisoning your tanks, landing gear, and startup. I mean, all kinds of stuff, you know. So have fun with it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll be happy to help anywhere I can, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.